Alrighty, well, let's just get into this, shall we?
There's a story I want to tell. So much stuff has popped up at once. I never got to adequately just like defend myself, and I don't want this to be a thing that people think they can just do. Come out and tell some like story about me, then everybody makes fun of me and like doesn't listen. I always apologize if I do something wrong, if I react in a way that's embarrassing. Always I apologize, but I never get an apology for what they did.
So I'm gonna go over some of the points that she made and are just completely false and give you guys the receipts to back that up.
This situation was really fucked up, and I've always kept it between us. I feel like professional and personal relationships should not be public. That's why I've never spoken up about shit.
Gabbie, I had issues with her on season 2. I don't think I've ever said her name publicly, but it's not really news to anyone. She was miserable to work with for the most part. There were good moments. If she was great on camera, which she was, and she was very entertaining, I forget about all that shit. And then season 4, she was a nightmare. I don't really care anymore. It was just hard. There were a lot of diva antics, unprofessional behavior. It was miserable, but it turned out entertaining on the show, so I can't really hold that against her.
So because this is something that has been said behind the scenes by people I thought were friends, and I was made a mockery of for years, throw me under the bus after pretending to be my friend, and as soon as it was like an opportunistic moment, just be like, she was a nightmare to work with.
I do want to let you guys know that Gabbie and I were close friends. So when she acts like the victim and is wondering why all these people who claim to be her friends are no longer her friends, you do things, Gabbie, to make people not be your friends.
So I want to talk about Daniel Prada, and in relation I have to talk about Joey, because Joey also talks shit about me publicly.
Season 4 was my least favorite film by far.
Why?
One person on the cast who just made it hell.
Really?
Is it true that there was drama on the set?
Yeah, absolutely.
I stayed respectful and I never once said that it was you publicly.
How was Gabbie? Gabbie was very competitive.
She was misbit. She'll own up to the fact that she was a little nasty on set sometimes.
It's embarrassing to admit, because I feel like there's this very public theme when it comes to my life of me thinking people were my friends who weren't. Dude, it's just embarrassing. I've held this shit in, and like the fact that my heart is pounding about it right now, like I don't want to live with this shit anymore.
The way that you acted on set of Escape the Night is why we are no longer friends. And if you want an example of what a friend is like, take some advice from Colleen, who gave birth months before, showed up on set, was breastfeeding, went home after hours on set, and then having to be a mom, and then coming to set the next day and doing it all over again. Colleen didn't complain once. She was my #1 supporter, helping me de-stress and telling me that everything was gonna be okay.
I truly thought Joey and Daniel were like my real friends. Here's how it happened. My agent reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to do Escape the Night season 4. I had done season 2 and I did not enjoy the experience at all. I told my agent I did not want to do it. I was really dealing with a lot of very bad mental health issues. My eating disorder was at an all-time peak. This was around the time of the monster meme, Kenza Cosmetics thing, and also I did not like the first experience that I was there. I didn't expect my reaction in that type of work environment, and it was like not good. Like I was just unprofessional.
You, who's my friend, is making life on set a living hell by being disrespectful and rude to not only cast but crew, screaming at the director, demanding things, calling a production assistant a dumb is not how you act on set of one of your friends. Any set, that's not how you act.
Dude, a lot of people have a lot of stories about me being unprofessional. I promise you that. There's no shortage of them. I used to be really difficult to work with. Acting especially, it's just something that I personally cannot do. You're there for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. I need to fucking do something. Most of it is sitting around doing nothing. MTV probably could tell some stories about me too. I did not treat my mental health. I didn't understand it. I wish I understood this shit about myself. I really did ruin a lot of opportunities.
Regardless of your mental health issues, this is not how you act. Half the cast had ADHD and did not act in the way that you did. So I'm sorry, but that is not an excuse. And that is why we are not friends. I don't like you because of what you did to me. That is not how a friend acts.
First time, like, I was really embarrassed about like the way I acted. I was like super bitchy. We would start shooting at 7 or 8 and then wrap around like 3, 4, sometimes 5 in the morning. There was literally no sleep. I cannot function like that. I'm sure there's like very professional actors who do that. Colleen literally had like a baby on set. She managed. I can't. When my agent came back to me, they want you to do season 4, before, I said I can't. Like, so then Joey and Daniel are like, please, we really want you to be a part of the show. We loved you in season 2. You looked beautiful. Tell us what you need to make you feel comfortable, and we'll make sure you have it.
I also never begged or pleaded for Gabbie to be a part of the show. Yes, I wanted her to be in it because she was my friend at the time. I wanted to give her this opportunity to be on this platform that has like a billboard and a lot of respect towards it. Excuse me for giving you this opportunity.
I'm a very fragile person, I know. That's my point. I'm very forthcoming about that with pretty much everyone in my life. So if you insist and you're like, please do this, and I agree, and I'm giving you these very clear things that I need, the needs of my eating disorder, you're a horrible, toxic person. And I'm like, was I? What happened is exactly what I told you was gonna happen. But that's why that was such an upsetting situation for me. I was hearing that he was like playing out voice notes of me being upset that there wasn't like the proper food on set.
Audio messages of Gabbie cursing people out because they don't have the right food or whatever the case is. Like, causes chaos on sets because they don't have her healthy snacks and she has to be at a gym at 10 a.m. because that's her routine.
Every single person is sent a form days before we start filming to get people's medical information and their allergies and any food restrictions. Gabbie didn't fill this out until the day on set.
We're doing that.
She's practicing her script.
Filling out my medical information.
I don't understand how you expect things to be done for you when you don't do the work yourself. You're supposed to fill this out beforehand so we can get everything prepared. 3 healthy meals that were so specific of like exactly what you needed, and yet you still didn't even eat them. Was it that you actually needed the healthy meals, or were you just trying to be difficult? Throw around some power.
Dude, I was humiliated in that situation too. Absolute worst case scenario, what it could have been for me. One of the things they promised was like, we promise we'll get you a really comfortable outfit. Please just make sure I'm warm. I don't want to be in heels again. Like, I show up on set, literally the exact same problem where I literally couldn't move my arms and I was feeling really restricted and like claustrophobic in it. Like freezing winds. Once again, I'm in heels, playing fucking sports outside in heels. Like all the shit that I was promised wasn't going to happen essentially. And then they asked me like, are you allergic to any metals when I was getting this costume? And I was like, I'm highly allergic to pretty much all metal except for like sterling silver, white gold. First day right off the bat, I'm wearing all of this fake huge chunky jewelry that did break me out in very like painful itchy hives. And by the end of the first day, I'm like, okay, there's literally no healthy food. Don't get me wrong, I was like bitching the whole time. Like I was very unhappy because I was fucking hungry, dude. And in the mental state of every time I eat one of these like snacks from Crafty, I'm blowing up 100 sizes.
Moving on to the wardrobe that you had issues with. I don't remember forcing this outfit on you. You approved this during the first fitting. You actually loved it. We made you a custom version of it. The issue is you had 2 more fittings after we made you this custom look that you just didn't show up for. We offered to meet you at your music studio, and when the costume designer, who was actually 9 months pregnant, drove across town to go to your music studio, you stood her up. I don't know how you expected a Cinderella miracle to happen to make sure that you were comfortable in your wardrobe when you didn't show up to the 2 fittings to make sure that it could be comfortable.
So anyway, the last day, I had this absurdly ridiculous call time, and I literally told the producer, no, I'm getting home. It's like 5 fucking a.m. Like I have to sleep. And they were like, well, we need you to do your interviews. It was crazy making. They would have me do my hair and makeup early, and I'd be sitting there because like we need to do interviews, which was like the fake reality TV portion of the show. Then I'd be sitting there waiting and nobody would come get me to do the interviews. So I was like, what the fuck? But then what was worse than that, they would keep coming up to me and being like, Gabbie, are you ready to do interviews? And I'd be like, yeah. And they'd be like, okay, stay put, don't leave, we'll be right back. And then they'd leave and then nobody would come back. And then somebody else would come back and be like, oh, why aren't you in interviews? And I'm like, because nobody came and got me. And then they'd be like, okay, hold on 1 sec. And then they would leave. Literally what would happen is we would start filming the episode and I didn't do the interview. So you had me get my ass here that early. I sat here and did nothing. Here's what really fucking sent me over the edge. I got home to my fucking room and I had an email from my agent. Gabbie, you can't refuse to do interviews. And I was like, I'm not refusing to do interviews. I'm literally sitting here waiting and nobody's getting me or miking me. How is this my fault? Like I literally felt like I was going crazy. Imagine like being there and being like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm waiting, I'm right here. Literally nobody just came. I'm sitting in the hair and makeup trailer or in the green room. I was nowhere else. Whose fault is it that I didn't do interviews? Like, what do you want me to do? Oh my God, anyways.
It was the end of day 2. It's about 4 a.m. We're all getting out of our clothes and getting ready to go home. The PA comes to let us all know our call times for tomorrow so we can be ready for our hair and makeup. The PA tells Gabbie a time that she has to arrive the next day and she completely refuses. We reach out to her manager, let him know that, hey, Gabbie is refusing to work under the contract that she signed. Her manager was extremely apologetic and was basically saying that he was gonna drop her after this. Like, it was extremely unprofessional. She showed up on set the next day, but the director and I met and were like, if this is not it, we need to kill her off the show as soon as possible because she was causing so much chaos that we just needed to get rid of her.
4 p.m. the last day I was there, I was like, hey, can I get some food to one of the producers? And they said, the kitchen doesn't open till 5. What? I've been here all day and there's nothing but snacks available. So I blew up at the director. I blew up at, not Joey, but I blew up at Daniel because Daniel was the producer and he was also the person who promised me that he personally would take care of my meals. It just turned into this, Gabbie's a diva.
Can't have her for one more episode. Let's get rid of her. So we planned the double death. The next day I took Gabbie aside and of course she had a million things to say. She had all these excuses of what was going on with her, and I'm in producer headspace. Like, I need to make sure that this production goes as smoothly as possible. So I'm just nodding my head like, yeah, girl, don't worry, everything's fine, like, we're good. I totally understand what you're going through. But in my head, I'm like, this girl is screwing me over so hardcore, and I am proud of the way that I handled myself. I had to do what I had to do to protect me and protect the show. So if that's fake Gabbie, well, it's what I had to do.
One of the producers let it slip that they were like killing me off, and then I asked Joey again, like, are you killing me off? He said no to me again, and then it turns out that they did actually plan to kill me off, which was for the best. But it's just like, dude, just be a real person. Like, nobody's a real person. Next day, I believe it was the next day, I texted Daniel and Joey and I sent them this apology where I was like, I really did not want this to be a bad experience. I'm so sorry if I like ruined this experience for you. I'm so grateful that you like trusted me with this. I really didn't want it to get to this point. Just basically saying, this is why I got here. We were both wrong. I was a bitch and an asshole. Very emotional reaction to a very emotionally triggering situation. I could have handled myself better. 100%. And it's embarrassing, and that's why I apologize for it. To not apologize back, to not take ownership of anything that you did to contribute to that. You didn't respect me as a person, as a friend, as a creator, as a talent on your show. Like, when you needed something to talk about for views, literally would throw me under the bus. When you were just in my home decorating it for content. When you've been coming to all of my parties, you've been inviting me to your events, except the one you uninvited me to. I reached out to Daniel because he tweeted something about Santa's naughty list not coming to the Christmas party this year. When I saw that, that was around drama. So then I reached out to Daniel and I was like, dude, it's totally okay if you can't invite me to your party. I totally understand if you don't want to be associated. And he was like, no girl, not you, like Trisha, she's the problem, whatever. I apologized to you, you accepted it, and then the second it was popular, throw me under the bus, you threw me under the bus. Like, there's no other way around that, because you're either being fake then and pretending to like me for content or followers or to be on your fucking billboard, or you're being fake now when you threw me under the bus the second you felt like it was safe because so many people were doing it. I texted Joey and I was like, dude, I wish you would have just talked to me. So then he told me that he accepted my apology then, but then he decided he didn't accept it. It's weird, but do you?
By accepting your apology was me protecting the project. I don't know what to expect from you, so I'd rather pretend that we're good than actually deal with the craziness that you bring. You make it very hard for people to be honest with you, and if I was honest with you, nothing would have changed. You think that you were always going to be the victim. Even when I finally did share with you my frustration of you on set, there was no getting through to you. There was always just an excuse.
But I think it's also kind of fucked up to like go onto a public platform without at least coming to me first and being like, you know what, I thought about it and I'm still upset. But no, you went and talked shit about me on a public platform. That's fucked up. I don't know, dude. It's so embarrassing finding out how many people did not give a fuck about me. Like, I went through my life without friends. That never was a friend. That was somebody who never liked me, never cared about me, and also caused a lot of fucking drama in my life. Constantly coming back to my ear about like, this person said this person said this, like planting shit in my head that caused me like real drama and repercussions and shit. Like,
maybe the reason why all these people who are fake friends just don't know how to cut it off with you because you're scary. You don't make it easy for people to be honest with you.
I'm tired of like the fake woke conversations about like, we care, like about mental health and we want to protect people. Like, no, dude, because this is mental health.
A week later, we had to do the press shoot where we shot the billboard and the promo shoots and stuff, and She was complaining about her call time. Even though she was contractually obligated to come to this day, she had a gym appointment that she couldn't miss. She was trying to, oh, I can just get my makeup done, shoot out and go. But that's not how it works. There's tons of other people. It's not always just about you. You have to go to the gym, Gabbie. That's way more important than the contract that you signed to be here for the full time that is required. But because things weren't going her way on set, she had a major meltdown. Stay tuned for if I can find the footage or the audio of her to really convey how awful she was on set.
I was a fucking total bitch also. Sometimes I'm a total bitch. Generally, I'm a direct reflection of the energy that's given to me. If you are kind to me, treat me with a semblance of empathy and respect. I know how troubled I've been and the way that I've acted in situations that I'm not proud of. I can understand when somebody's being kind of a shitty person, because I wish that a lot of people didn't just push me to the wayside when I was struggling. I've been giving myself too much anxiety trying to